Welcome to VSB News Online for Friday, June the 19th. I'm Charles Webb. From July the 1st, able-bodied men and women receiving financial assistance will find themselves on a sliding scale of payments, and single mothers will be required to go after the non-paying father via the courts to keep the approved status with the government department. The news was announced in Parliament today, but there was news that an immediate outcry from the opposition, led by Workplace Shadow Minister Rolf Commission, which the minister sought to rebuff.
The issue with that, again, is in contrast, juxtaposed with this weak economy. How is that going to solve a lot of the situations that they're going to be faced with in terms of, well, yeah, we know that, but the problem is going to be, I think, that you're going to find some circumstances where there is really genuine economic hardship. I've had a couple of clients over the last few months come to me and talk about that they don't want to have to go and put the fathers of their children before the court, because they know that the fathers are not in a position to pay consistently with respect to child support for their children because they're not able to find meaningful, gainful employment.
A vicious circle.
A vicious circle. And it can also lead to even more dysfunction within these family units by putting these type of mandates in. My question, if I would have had the chance to ask the minister, is whether there's still going to be some degree of discretion, either on the part of the department head and or the minister, him or herself, to make exceptions to this rule.
Two parents make a child, and it is the responsibility of those parents, first and foremost, to look after those children. So to think that government has to be your first step to get assistance just doesn't make any sense to me. I think you have to look first of all within the home and within the family structure and make sure that you can support the children that you have. And if all else fails, then you can go and ask for financial assistance. To suggest that there's a problem for somebody to make sure that they're getting maintenance for the children that they've created is just extraordinary. I can't believe that they would have a problem with that aspect.
It's not too easy to take someone to court, is it?
Well, I think that there are family courts, and the family court assists with such things. And I think that people can go and make sure that and if they don't have money for lawyers, there is legal aid. There are all manner of abilities that people have. So to say that they're going to go have children and not require the other parent to have financial responsibility for the child, I think that is, for anybody to suggest that that's inappropriate, that's an attitude that's encouraging irresponsibility, and I certainly can't support that.
Finance Minister E.T. Bob Richards will be taking the fight to clear Bermuda's name in the Lion's Den in Brussels next week, but in the meantime he's trying to find out which UK government department helped the European Commission finger the island as an uncooperative financial centre.
It's clear that someone in the UK government knew about this and never alerted us to it. I'm not, or spoke up for us. It's disappointing. I'm not sure what it's all about. Maybe the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. UK government is a huge bureaucracy. But from our perspective, it is concerning that something like this could happen, and you were not alerted at all to this. This thing didn't happen overnight, and we are relying on them to be our eyes and ears, and that didn't happen in this case.
It's an ambush.
Well, it felt like it, yeah.
And you have spoken to the governor about this, and he says that the UK government weren't involved.
Well, the UK government have representatives on the committees, as I pointed out in my ministerial statement, on the committees that promulgated this list. So someone in the UK government was involved. It may not have been anybody that the governor knows. It may not have been anybody in HM Treasury. I'm told HM Treasury didn't know. But someone in the UK government, because they're a member, and I think this thing was approved by various committees that the UK are a member of.
You're going to shake the trees.
Well, I'm going to have a word.
To save the annual operating cost of $500,000, government has abandoned the 4-year-old high-risk program for delinquent children and moved the function to the Youth Counseling Unit. Government Junior Minister Nandi Outerbridge told Parliament that it would not lead to future problems. But Sheriff Minister for Culture and Community Affairs Michael Weeks was unconvinced.
The high-risk program for students is not being offered. It's no longer being offered through the program because those students are able to go to the Bermuda Youth Council Service to have those services offered. This government has also offered Team Street Safety, which is an intervention program of people in the streets that go out to intervene with high-risk children as well.
So you're content that will do it?
Yes. I believe that, we are now looking at all the programs and their effectiveness within the department to see which are the best options and which suit, the child best that are going through the high-risk programs. But at the moment, they're able to get the counseling through the Bermuda Youth Counseling Service.
We're talking about large numbers?
We had 447 students over the last 4 years go through the high-risk program.
And you hope successfully?
Yes, definitely. They have a 6 to 9 month period where they're assessed throughout the program. The same assessments that they're used to see if they're supposed to be entered into the program, they're assessed throughout the program to see how they're making out. Even though some transition out after 6 to 9 months, they're constantly in touch with the youth leaders just to keep track of what's going on, or if they ever need any added support, there's an aftercare plan for 12 months after the program.
I was not satisfied at all with her answers when we came to the question of the high-risk children, because she was very evasive. But the question remains, what will happen to those 470-plus young men and boys and girls who were part of the high-risk program up until March 31st? So, and to tell us that the program was simply just pulled and no real alternative put in place, to me falls short of the mark of what the job we're supposed to be doing as leaders of the country. And I think this government has to recognize that if you're going to pull $500,000 for a program that services our quote-unquote high-risk people, and I keep going back to the fact that we've got $77 million that we found for the America's Cup. We could take a few of those dollars, because if we don't address the issues in the front end that's facing a lot of our high-risk youth, eventually we will have to deal with it on the back end.
The church massacre in Charleston has deeply affected Premier Michael Dunkley, especially as he recently hosted a visit from the area officials at the Senate and was reminded of the strong historic ties between the two communities.
I was blessed to talk to a delegation from South Carolina not too long ago, and I know the strength of the AME Church in the South and the strength of the AME Church in Bermuda. So I was moved. Early in the morning, I sent out a message over Twitter in that regard, and I moved right away to write a letter to the bishop and to Senator Clyburn, which I mentioned today. So, we need to stop at times and reflect on some of these challenges, because when people hurt, to show our support, to show our understanding, means a lot to them, to carry them through these times. And these are one of those times when you have to look back at just what happened, the foundation of that church, the struggle they've gone through, the progress that they've made, how they've reached out to people. I think the support of Bermuda and the AME Church, who is deep in our community, can help them get through these tough times. And the least we can do is reach out and let them know how we care. And I think we can bring some comfort as they work through some difficult period.
And we'll be back with more news right after this.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
Attorney General Trevor Moniz responded to the news that the opposition has asked the governor to block his controversial reforms law by pointing out they had already been approved by the European Court of Justice.
All of these matters have been tested by the European Court of Justice, which administers the European Convention on Human Rights. The Bermuda Constitution was based on the European Convention of Human Rights. So they're all tried and tested, and they will all fit within the Bermuda system. We have consulted everyone at great length. In fact, the bar was so slow at responding that we extended by several months. We wanted to do all of this in February, March, and we put it over to June so that the bar would have more time to respond. Interestingly enough, never at any point in time did they ask to meet with me. They issued their response, which is a large response. Now, interestingly enough, a lot of their response was done by Susan Mulligan. Susan Mulligan worked with the DPP's chambers. She helped us with drafting these reforms, and then she went over to work for Liz Christopher and helped to draft the response. She didn't express any great reservations when she was helping us to draft the acts themselves. But, I understand how it works. Obviously, they're afraid of change. Some members of the criminal defense bar are afraid of change. They feel that somehow they will lose out. I'm convinced that that's not the case. The letter that came to us, we made some changes as a result of those submissions. I don't know how many, between 3 and 6 changes in the legislation were made as a result of recommendations made by the bar. So we listened to those. So some of the matters published in the paper aren't true because they were recommendations that we acted upon. So I am confident that everything within the suggested reforms is in accordance with the provisions of our Constitution. And I think there's a bit of panic in the defense bar because they feel they're going to lose income.
Opposition spokesman Kim Wilson wants to know why the Bermuda Hospitals Board is paying $10,000 a month to a nurse consultant to perform dialysis in patients' home at the same time she's opening her own commercial clinic.
It's something that certainly warrants ministerial investigation if the hospital are paying for one service, for the hospital providing payment for something that is precisely who's actually on that same dollar, so to speak, utilizing the dollar to set up a competing business. And we also know that the issues concerning diabetes regrettably are on the increase, and that there is certainly a lot of scope within the hospital board to offer also a home dialysis unit at a cost. So there were a number of questions that we raised. This person is a nurse, so insofar as her inability at law, as per the regulations, to even write up prescriptions concerning persons that are on dialysis, she won't have that ability to do so. Who will she bill? Is she indicating she's clearly going to be in direct competition with respect to the hospital, because if the hospital is going to be offering the similar service and she is, then there lies another issue that has to be addressed.
And now we turn to Earl Baisden with the latest from the sports desk.
The Caribbean Basketball Confederation's 2015 Men's Championships continued last evening, with Bermuda improving to a 2-1 record with a 71-50 victory over Suriname. With one more day left in the preliminary round of Group B action, Bermuda have a chance to be on top of the group and have a shot at playing in the semifinals. Leading all scorers was Bermuda's Chris Crumpler with 22 points. He had 6 rebounds and 4 steals. Jonathan Lowe added 12 points and Sullivan Phillips scored 11 points. Meanwhile, 14-year-old Rai Aronson will become the youngest player to represent Bermuda in the men's level in basketball when he puts on the Bermuda shirt in Jersey at the Island Games. Bermuda are the 3-time defending champions in basketball, and the youngster feels he's up to the challenge.
I find it more of an honor and a privilege to be able to wear Bermuda across my chest and to play with such good players such as Sullivan Phillips, the Simons brothers and the Lowe brothers. So not much pressure, but it is a bit of pressure.
Now, you've worked extremely hard to get to this point that's going to see you help try to defend a gold medal that they've won on 3 consecutive occasions. What are some of the things you're hoping to gain from this? and what are some of the things that your teammates been telling you to expect once you get over to Jersey?
Well, my teammates on the national team so far have said that it's definitely going to be much more athletic and more athleticism out there, and it's going to be a faster paced game. So I've been training 12 times a week to get my fitness up and to get my skill game better. But mostly I'm going out there to gain experience, because this is the highest level I've played at since I've come to Bermuda and since I've started playing basketball.
Now, what got you into basketball?
My mum, she took me to this basketball camp in England when I was 7 or 8, and I just fell in love with it straight away.
Now, you've been working hard since a young boy. How many times a week are you putting in? How many hours a week are you putting in to make sure that when you board that flight to Jersey, you're in the best possible condition, both mentally and physically, to be up against some of the best of the rest of the small islands around the world, really?
I train 12 times a week, 2 times in the morning on Tuesday and Thursday at 6:30 with Chris Crumpler, and then 3 times a week with Wolfpack Elite with Christopher Peters. 3 times a week with the men's national team, and plus basketball on my own. So I train quite a lot of hours, and yeah, I think I'm ready to go out there and play, and I'm excited.
The Bermuda Cricket Board and Logic today announced Gennaro Tucker as the Logic Premier Division Player of the Week. The Southampton Rangers captain scored 80 not out, which included 7 fours and 1 6. Tucker also took 2 wickets for 39 runs off of 10 overs in his team's win over Bailey's Bay. Meanwhile, Cameron Jeffers from Wart Workmen's Club was named the Logic First Division Player of the Week. Jeffers took 6 wickets for 30 runs from his spell of 8 overs in his team's win on Sunday over PHC. Jeffers feels that playing cricket 3 times a week will help the national team for the upcoming Under-18 tournament.
It's good that we're playing a lot of cricket and getting a lot of match experience, because that's what's going to make or break us in this tournament.
What do you think of your 6-wicket performance last weekend?
I mean, it was good, but it's all development and just looking to improve on that next year, or even this year.
Now, you guys were able to knock some of the Bridge down cheaply on Saturday.
Yeah.
Does that build confidence for the entire team, especially in the bowling department?
I mean, yeah, we got confidence going into Saturday's match against Devonshire Rec, which will be a tricky one because we got a few good players out there. But I think, yeah, confidence is on our side, and we should do okay.
The Bermuda Netball Association Summer League season continued at Bernard Park with a triple header that produced a total of 125 goals. The Teachers defeated Squad 2 28-10. Danielle Rayner led the Teachers to victory with 16 goals, while Kenlyn Smith scored 8 goals and Chonette Adams scored 4 times. Squad 2 got 6 goals from Amaya Butterfield and 4 from Kamala Nadir. In other matches, BAC defeated Squad 1 23-22, and Family defeated the PHC Lady Zebras 22-20. The Axis Squash Challenge 2015 continued at the Bermuda Squash Racket Association Club last evening with another 8-team games on tap. 4 games were decided by 1 point that included Team Brewer defeating Tough Like Jane 5-4, Sweatbox got by Love Handles 5-4, Tatus Heaven defeated Dream Team 5-4, and Hit or Miss defeated the Scramblers 5-4. Day 1 of the IJGA Junior Open Golf Tournament saw Walker Campbell take to the Bear Creek Golf Course in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Campbell opened up his round shooting a 2-over par 74. His round consisted of 3 birdies, 10 pars, and 5 bogeys. I'm Earl Basden reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Saturday, June the 20th, there will be sunny periods with a brief late-night shower or 2. Winds will be westerly and light, backing southwesterly in the afternoon. We're expecting a high near 83 and a low near 75. This weather forecast is courtesy of Bermuda Weather Service. With Father's Day coming up on Sunday, we end our news with this heartwarming Father's Day story. At an age when most fathers are enjoying well-earned retirement, either on the golf course, fishing, or as young ones say, chilling, Keith Young Sr. and his wife Gwendolyn are overseeing the lives of 22 grandchildren and 17 great-grandchildren. when his son Keith died, he took on that fatherly role, and he tells how he copes with this later in life responsibility.
Lord Jesus Christ has given us the strength, my wife and I, the strength to do what we're doing. Right? We have to cope with the children. When I was coming along, or when my children came along, the children today is a big difference. It's a big difference. A lot of stress on them and also stress on us. But we are coping quite well. These children are not rude children. They are very obedient children. They are very helpful to us. They're keeping us in our sound minds. And we're doing great.
Now, what about the schoolwork?
It's a bit different when I was going. But I'm coping with them on that. Right? They are teaching me as I'm also helping them. So it's when they bring the homework home nights and I go there with them, they're also teaching me the new methods of how to do things. And that's how I can instill in them the way I used to do it. Or they let me do it their way and I do my way, but we still can come up with the same answer, if they're right.
What happens when it comes to discipline?
Well, things have changed when I was coming along. You know, once upon a time you can give a child a little smack, but nowadays you do more talking. And I mean a lot of talking. You're talking and talking and talking. And they're obedient. I don't have no problems with it.
Now, when your son died, how old were they?
Keith's been dead now for 4 or 5 years. And this, my great-granddaughter, he had three of them. One of them's away. And this one is 14. So she was about, we really had them but 7, going on 8 years. We had them in our life. So although the mother was here, but the mother left them. So we brought them up, but Keith was still alive. Mm-hmm. So we had them.
So what advice would you give to young fathers, foster fathers or otherwise, trying to cope now?
Well, any father, you got to stay to the wicket. There's no doubt about it. Your children didn't ask to come here. Somebody has to stand. And you as a father, you got to have that responsibility on you. You got to stand. And it's not easy, but hey, that's what's laid on you. That's what you got to do with it.
How much does stock pay into the game? Because, I remember your father, and, you come from good stock. How much does that help?
My father was a great man. He, a lot of things that I've done in my marriage, I learned from him. He was really a role model to me, although I had a lot of other men that even went out to the working field that taught me a lot. But I still lean to my father. Because he showed me a lot. He showed me how to bring up a family, how to show me how to run a family. And that's where I got from. And I was deviated from it.
And you're grateful for that now?
Praise the Lord.
Thank you for watching VSB News Online for Friday, June the 19th. I'm Charles Webb, wishing you all a very happy Father's Day.